Welcome everyone to a Hearts of Iron 4 tutorial. Before I start, I'd recommend that you watch this video with the game open next to you so that you can get a feel for the game as we play. This mini-series will split up every part of the game. This is the most basic part of the series. So if you don't need it, please skip to the next episode. You can also see the time stamps to skip ahead. I'm going to use Germany with all the DLCs to start explaining. First things first, I'll explain the top information bar. This is your country flag, that when you click it, it will show some information about the government. I'll come back to this bit later. The next one is your political power, which is used for changing laws, appointing political advisors, and military staff. Stability shows how stable your country is. You want your stability to be high, and you don't want it to be low. It can negatively affect your factory output and your dockyard output. Your war support shows how many people want to go to war. You want a high war support to change laws like conscription. This is your manpower. It shows how many people are ready to go into battle. It's affected by conscription laws. This is your factory count. When you hover over it, it will show you your military factories, your naval dockyards, and your civilian factories. Next is your fuel. At the top, it shows how many days you have until your fuel fills when it's in green, and when it's in red, it shows how long until your fuel is empty. Without any fuel, your trucks, ships, and planes are less effective. This is your logistics fulfillment. It shows how satisfied your supply lines are. When this number is below 100%, divisions on the front lines won't get the supply they need. We'll talk about supply later on. The amount of convoys you're using is shown here. If this number gets low or to 0, then you have a problem and you need to make some more in the production. Convoys deliver troops and supply around the world. Next is command power. It's used for military operations and to promote generals. It will increase over time and more so if you have high war support. These next three are the XP. Your experience points are gained separately. One for Army, Navy, and Air Force. They're gained as you use each one, or through chiefs in the military staff. Okay, so now I'm going to explain each of these buttons below. Starting with the flag. When you click the flag, it shows your country's information. The first thing shown is your national focus tree. These are the focuses of your country over a time period. When you pick a focus, it will take time to complete, but once completed, you'll get all the benefits that come with it. For example, Germany's 4-year plan focus gives research bonus and a political advisor. The area below shows the country's national spirits. If you hover over it, it will show you the positives or negative effects that they have on the country. This next area shows the government type. Germany starts as fascist, but can be changed through the focus tree. The pie chart next to it shows the support of each government type with the population. The next three buttons below manage the territory that you take. Next, you have 3 trays: laws and government, research and production, and military staff. The first one, on laws and government, changes conscription. This affects the amount of manpower you have. The second is your trade laws. They are used to change how much you trade outside your country for your resources. The final one is your economy laws, with civilian economy being the least prepared for war and total mobilization being the most. This affects how many factories are used to build within a country. We'll come back to this later. Within the laws and government section, you also have political advisors that will help a country in many ways. For example, this war industrialist increases military factory construction speed and dockyard construction speed. The next bar is research and production. It shows all your industrial organizations. We'll come back to these later. Finally, the military staff tab. The first 3 are the chiefs: the chief of army, the chief of navy, and the chief of air force. Each one gives XP and additional support for each. For example, this guy gives division attack plus 10%. The other 3 are military high command. They also help divisions with benefits like division attrition, -8%. Decisions button. This button shows your country's potential decisions and events. Most decisions cost political power, so will require you to stockpile the political power. This second button the intelligence agency, shows your spy agency. You must first create an agency with 5 factories. You can then upgrade the agency with 5 factories or more to get a collaboration government and other spy operations. You do that by creating spy networks with your operatives. I'll cover this in another video. Next, the research button. Every country must do research to keep up with the competition. By clicking on the flashing research buttons, you'll see a large list of research. The first thing you need to do is research industry. For example, basic machine tools, construction. The reason you want to do this is it will help you at the beginning of the game to strengthen your industry at the start of the game. You can then pick whatever other research you'd like. Next is the international market. This is used to buy and sell equipment. Money is not used in the game, so you use factories to buy equipment. You can buy equipment from anyone you have market access with. This can be requested via diplomacy. The trade button. This is where you trade for resources, like rubber. You can see the top 6 resources. Green means that you have an abundance of the resource. Yellow means that you are trading for too much, and red means you don't have enough. Without enough resources, your productions will be slower. You trade using civilian factories. The construction button. This is where you build. On the left is a list of everything being built, and on the right is where you can build new things. Construction is a vital part of the game, so you should listen carefully to what each of these do. Infrastructure. This increases your supply power in a region, increases the division speed, and increases the amount of raw materials you extract. It's mainly used for increasing raw material extraction. Airbase. This provides an area to deploy your air force. Anti-air helps to protect buildings from enemy bombing and can attack aircrafts. Radar station. This helps to gain intel on enemy troops nearby. Military factories. These factories help produce new military equipment. Civilian factories. Used to construct new buildings or for civilian goods. Build these to build more of everything else. They're important to build at the beginning of the game. Naval dockyards. They build new ships. Synthetic refineries. They provide the country rubber and fuel. They can be useful for countries like Germany that don't have large amounts of oil. Fuel silo. These give more room to stockpile fuel. Rocket site. These provide the state with deploying rockets. Nuclear reactors. They're used to make nuclear weapons. Convert. This is used to convert civilian factories to military factories. Usually a bad idea as you'll lose construction strength of the civilian factories. Supply hubs. A hub of supply. They go along railways and supply divisions with equipment. These are very important during the game. Railways. Used to connect your supply hubs to the capital. Naval bases. They provide a repairing place for your ships and act as supply hubs. I usually call them ports. Land forts. They make it more difficult for divisions to attack a certain tile. Coastal forts. Makes it more difficult to naval invade onto a tile. They must have a division on it to make it effective. Production tab. This section shows exactly what equipment is being made and how many factories are being used to make them. Each bit of equipment that you make is shown below. This includes planes and ships. You assign military factories to each bit of equipment to build more. So say I wanted more infantry equipment, I add more factories. There are a few icons that you need to learn. They're all at the top here. First one is the stockpiling icon. This shows that you are adding equipment to a stockpile and it's not getting sent to a division. Don't worry though, equipment is taken out of the stockpile if it's needed by a division. The reinforcing icon. This shows that you are sending the equipment straight to a division. The number next to this icon shows how much needs to be made for the division. A high number may mean you need to make more of that particular equipment. The upgrading icon. This shows that equipment is being sent to a division to upgrade it. This will happen when you update to a better bit of equipment. When there's a large arrow behind equipment, this means it's outdated and needs to be updated. You can click on it and replace it with the new item. Each bit of equipment has production efficiency. This shows how efficient your military factories are at making a product. This will increase with time and means that more equipment is made in less time when the production efficiency is high. This is the recruit and deploy tab. This is where you train new divisions and where you edit the templates. Firstly, this shows where equipment goes when it's produced. These 5 boxes at the top have bars and buttons in each. The bars show how much equipment they have, And the buttons can be changed to change the priority of the equipment being sent there. I usually set reinforcements to high priority so that the divisions in the field get the equipment first. On the right, you can see the templates. More templates can be made and templates can be edited. You can train these templates, and when you select train, one unit will be added to training. You need to select a location for it. You can put it anywhere, it doesn't really matter. And then you can add more units here. This also shows how much equipment is needed for each one. And you can hover over the total amount to see exactly what's needed to make it. The logistics tab. This shows the details of how equipment is being used and where it needs to go. It shows each bit of equipment and information about each. You can see how much of each is stockpiled. At the beginning of game, this may be in the negatives, like support equipment. The Officer Corps tab. Final tab shows your 3 sections of the military. You can add spirits to each of them using military XP, and you can also see your doctrines by pressing this button here. Doctrines are selected for each. They are paths that cost XP and give different benefits depending on which path you go down. Within the most recent DLC, you also get doctrines of Mountaineers, Marines, and Paratroopers in the Special Forces tab. Next are the map modes. They're down on the bottom right of the screen. I will only explain the important ones. The default is the country view for land combat. It shows the countries in different colours. The strategic naval map mode shows the naval operations and shows exactly where you have naval supremacy and where you don't have it. The strategic air map mode shows your air operations and where you have air supremacy. Operative map mode shows your spies, your missions, and intel networks. The supply map mode shows where supply hubs are. They look like this. The railways and the coloured system on the map shows exactly where supply is and where supply isn't. You can also toggle battle plans. It's not very obvious here, but they'll appear in blue and shows exactly where your allies are planning to attack, where they want to naval invade, or where they want to fall back to. This can be very helpful when playing with other players or even with incompetent AI. I recommend checking out all the other map modes. Diplomacy is a large part of Hearts of Iron 4. To see diplomacy of a country, right click it. At the top, you can get a quick glance of the country's details, including the faction, the opinions of the country, which is right here, and their stability and war support. You can also view their national spirits down here. You can see France has got quite a few ones, like disjointed government, which gives minus 50% surrender limit. Under that, on the left, you can see the country's diplomatic actions. For example, you can see that France is guaranteeing the independence of 3 countries, Czechoslovakia, Romania, and Yugoslavia. To the right, you can see a list of actions that you can have with the country. At the top, you have declare war and justify war goal. In Hearts of Iron 4, you must have a war goal to declare war on another country. You can get a war goal either by justifying a war goal through this, or through a focus tree, focus on your focus tree. Next, you have guarantee independence. This is your agreement with the country that if someone declares war on them, then you will join in to help them. After that, you'll see 4 buttons that are used to give or gain certain access to the country. Military access means that you can move troops to their land, and docking rights is allowing a navy to supply itself in the ports. Under that, you can improve relationships with a country. This will make them more likely to accept requests from you when you have higher relations. Next, you can send an attaché. This will result in military cooperation by giving a few benefits to both nations. You can also get a non-aggression pact with the country, which basically means that you can't go to war with them. Well, you agree that you won't go to war with them. You can also invite or request to join a faction. A faction is just an alliance between 2 countries or more countries than just 2. Negotiate licenses is a waste of time. I wouldn't bother. Lend leases are a way of sending or receiving equipment from another country. You can only send it when a country is at war. Trade embargoes stop a country from being able to trade with you. This will automatically happen when you're at war, so there's usually no need. You can send volunteers to a country while you're not at war to help them win it. This will also get you XP and experience for your army. Expeditionary force are similar, however, are controlled by the country you send them to, not by you. Market access is where the two countries can trade on the international market. Without having access, you can't buy or sell equipment between each other. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn about war in Hearts of Iron 4, then that will be the next video.